So the title of this talk is Adding Interactive Music to Your Game in 10 Minutes, which is a pretty bold claim, one might say. Let's see here. This is me, Jonas Kjellberg. I'm from Sweden. This is a pretty old picture. Back then I had dreams. I still have dreams, but I did back then as well. And one of those dreams was to make the easiest, most advanced music system in the world for games. So I work at a company called Reactional Music. And that QR code will take you to the asset store where we have just launched. And I want to add as well that during Unite and next week, there is a 50% off the license cost of Reactional. But moving on. The core beliefs of Reactional is that music in games should be better. Every facet of game development has gone through huge leaps technology-wise, but music has pretty much stayed the same for 20 years or so. And I think it's due for a change that music is as prioritized as other tech parts of making games. And we also believe that it should be easy to make these advanced music experiences. Either if you want to make a music game like the one you play and love, that should be easy. Or if you want to make the next gen super narrative driven game with music that acts as a narrative device, that should also be something that you use Reactional for. And most importantly, we try to be as frictionless as possible. Let's see here. We're going to get back to this subtitle if necessary. We'll see about that. But I'm going to switch over here and we're going to talk some more about our framework. So we have sort of three parts to our system. And the most important one being the engine. This is what runs in-game at runtime, but also in the web browser where we have our platform and in our composer tool, which can be used by composers and creators to make their music interactive. We also have the Reactional platform, which is an online platform where developers can find all the documentation, the plugins, but also license and find and preview interactive compositions, but also license commercial music tracks directly from that platform. But mainly we're going to speak about this engine. So it's kind of like a middleware that you know, like Wise or Fmod. But middleware in general are systems for triggering and playing back audio files, loops and stems. And that's sort of how we've been doing interactive music for the past 20 years. We don't believe in this really. The composer don't have proper control. It takes a lot of time just making all the assets loop nicely or fit together, and you have to put them in the middleware. It's a tedious work, and I just can't stand that anymore. And at the end of the day, it's not very interactive to begin with. It's mostly just switching between different states of the music. So that's why we decided to do this note by note. And this means that every note being played back can be granularly changed from game logic within the game. And this is played back with samplers inside the game. And it makes it extremely malleable and can follow the action of the game perfectly. And I think there's a video here, but I'm actually gonna skip the video and do a live demo instead. So here we have a piece that I have composed in Reaper. And we could start the 10-minute timer here actually, but my record is 2 minutes to get it into the game. So let's play this back, and it shouldn't be too loud, the music. Can you? A bit up. like that. Okay. So a generic piece of music that you would put in a game. Normally, you'd export these different sections as loops. You might export these stems as well. But with our system, you drag and drop it into our tool that we call Composer. And now it automatically pulls all the musical data from this composition and renders out all the audio necessary to construct these small sampler instruments that will play back inside Unity. And it takes around 30, 40 seconds or so for this piece that has like 8 or so instruments. The length of the piece doesn't matter. If it's 3 hours, it's still going to be like 40 seconds because we're not interested in that data. Is quick to import. So now it's imported in here, and we can play it back just the same here, but let's add one of these interactive macros. And we can call it whatever. So now we can start adding interactivity to it. So these are like interactive plugins. The most basic one being scaling of a tempo. And this is sort of conceptually as simple as it can get. But with game music so far, when you have audio files, you can't really change the tempo of the track because that means time stretching, and time stretching sounds bad. But since this is playing back note by note, we can just easily just pull up the volume a bit, please. And that's pretty cool and all, but there are more fun things that we can do. We can do modal transpositioning, which means that when we transpose, we're not just changing pitch, we're actually changing scale modes of that piece. And that sounds like this. So that drastically changes the mood of the track. We can try some more here. Drag random. Probability maybe a shuffle. Do shuffle. So obviously you can chain these together and make a complex singular one. So this one will push around certain notes. This will change the probability of note playback. You can add some shuffle. And it's a completely different piece altogether. But another cool thing that we can do is, at any point we can override an instrument. So now I'm actually playing this violin with my mouse here. And all of this is exposed to the game, of course, so you could have your gamers more or less perform on these instruments inside the game. Just for a demo here, we're going to add this one here, and let's do 0.3 to 0.7, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so now we're going to export this into a Unity project. And we're going to call this Unite 2024. And then we have a Unity scene up here. So I have this folder exported now here into our streaming assets folder. And here is the Reactional plugin manager. Now I need to reload here. And I've loaded this track or interactive composition in now. But I need to map this parameter to something, so I have this script set control by distance, and that looks like this. Pretty basic. I check the distance to another object, compare that to my player, and with that value, I send to our system. So we just need to set the correct name here, and that was Jonas is cool. That is the default name if you're using this software. And now we hit play. So you can see the value changing here. And the animation speed is also slaved to this tempo of the music. Obviously, you'd design the interactivity to sound a bit more thought out and nice, but still, we have interactive music from the DAW stage in the music software straight into Unity in, I think, less than 10 minutes here, probably. So I think that's a round of applause, maybe, something like that, yeah. But wait, there is more, of course. We can talk for hours about just this interactive music playback system. But what we also have is something. Now I can show this slide, music for everyone. Let's see if we can, oh, we'll go back out. So we have our, this is the Reactional music platform. And here developers can find these interactive music compositions that are pre-made by myself and some contractors we have. So these are like demo themes, and these you can just plop into your game and have this super interactive music from your day one prototype. There's also a themes store coming where composers can sell their compositions as well. And here you can preview these interactive music assets. So we have this one we just heard. And this one has a danger parameter. So that is the same engine running in browser as is running inside Unity. So you'll always get the same sound when you preview here. On this side, we have our licensing catalog. So another belief of ours is that licensing popular music into your game should not be reserved only for the huge AAA companies. It should be for everyone. So we've had for years talks with the music industry and the labels to be able to license music to you developers with no hassle at all. You find a track you like and you can test it inside your game. It has a 30-day timestamp until it expires, so you can't release with these test assets. But as soon as you're satisfied with the song, you pay for that license and you can launch your game with that popular music track. And here are some of our partners here. So obviously we're trying to talk to all the major ones, but we're mostly proud currently, well, we're proud of all of our partners, but we just signed the other day with Beggars Music Group. And if you're not familiar with those, they have like the coolest catalog of artists. So check those out. You have heard them many, many times. And of course, partners like Beatport have a lot of up-and-coming electronic artists. We have Hopeless Records if you're into emo and metal and stuff. Defected is a huge techno label. So we have a lot of good music, and we're constantly adding as we go. And going back to the platform, what makes this different from anything else you've seen is that all of this music is also being analyzed for tempo, bars and beats, the chords, structure of the song. We also do an analysis where we can know what the vocal line is doing, which pitches are being played, etc. That you can use that data to construct musical gameplay in levels, to procedurally create music gameplay. But most importantly, this data influences our interactive composition system. So if we were to combine the piece that you just heard before with this pop track, so it's a pretty sweet track. Flying, chasing every beam of sunlight. So now we combine it with the interactive system, and you're going to hear that the interactive system will change chords to follow that of that recorded track. Flying, chasing every beam of sunlight. We're running after all the color galaxies. And I think the best use case for this kind of combination is to make music gameplay. So where you might not have a full interactive composition playing, but rather musical stingers that denote certain actions. So one of the tutorial projects that you can find on the Reactional platform is a music puzzler. And that looks like this. You might have played something similar in your life. And a backstory of this project is that from the playable game to making it into a musical game, it took me like 30 minutes to get all the musical gameplay happening. So it's a super quick way to make these kinds of games. So I'm just going to play a bit, and you're going to hear a pop track in the background. And as I move the thing, you're going to hear small piano notes being generated. And as the blocks drop, you're going to hear musical sound effects that will always change chord according to what's being played in the background. So yeah, you can quickly make games like that. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. You might have noticed that the sound sounded a bit weird, that because it seems like I had wrong sample rate going to that desk over there, so they're not supposed to be as fast, those music tracks, but yes, that's the demo ghosts happening there. So yeah, this allows for anyone without, deep musical knowledge to just grab our stuff and make music games, essentially. And I think that's very important, that it shouldn't be reserved for just people that can afford to spend months doing R&D and building their own complex system. You should just be able to put it in and make great gameplay happening. I'm doing great on time, actually. I was concerned. So who is this for then? It's for everyone, of course, I'm going to say, because I'm trying to sell you my software. But I think it makes sense for everything from small indie devs just starting out that have no music resources at all. They can use this platform to find tracks. We have a natural search engine that you can type in what your game is about, and it will suggest music for you. It's for people wanting to make music games like the one I just showed you before. But it's also for those that want to create the next gen of musical experiences, like a narrative game where the music actually follows the gameplay like it would in a movie score, where it's not just, you know, battle music or drama music. It's that, you know, you can use the system to anticipate when certain stuff happens in the music and delay those actions in the game, so you get a connection all the time, or vice versa, have the music do something to peak when it's a peak in the gameplay as well. I forgot to mention one cool thing. Actually, I'm going back to this slideshow here. Let's see where it is. Over here. So this is the importing stuff I showed you. Let's skip that. And the API, we try to make that simple as well. You saw one of the calls there, set control, for that game with a giant. But I want to show this small video as well. You up the volume? Sorry if that was a bit loud. But you could also see on the cliff in the background, there was a musical keyboard flashing. And that is actually the callbacks from our system. So you can get those live straight into the game in runtime and hook up events to that. So perhaps something happens whenever the violin hits a certain pitch, or just used it to trigger a particle effect when something happens in the music, etc. But you also get callbacks for a lot of other stuff. I think it's on the next slide here. Yeah. So you have bars and beats, of course. Whenever time signature changes, all the notes, the different instruments are also, you're able to parse out what instrument created what. Callback, the different parts of the song, chord changes, everything the system generates, you can essentially listen to and have that tied to gameplay at some point. And that pretty much also goes for the analyzed linear music tracks. You don't get as many callbacks, but you still get a lot of callbacks that you can use to make cool stuff happen. For instance, on that note, maybe any of you guys were here on Unite last year? Maybe someone. There was a big after party, and we did pretty cool stuff there. For instance, the intro to the party, we had this spaceship scene. So this is based on the Unity demo scene of the spaceship for the visual effects graph. So as you can see here, you have the sparks matched to the beats and the steam as well.
I hope you made it safely down there, and I hope you can hear me. I can't hear anything. The whole system's busted. There you are. I see you in the monitor now. Good to see you well.
Security check in progress. Access granted.
So since the logic setup here is only based on these callbacks, you can drop in any music you want and the scene will still work. Everything will still happen on beat.
There's a secure shelter room over there, just where you are. Put in the coordinates and get us to the landing site. You have to get us out of here now. Hurry up and get us to the landing site.
Select landing target.
There it is. Hurry up, we don't have much time. get us out of here now.
Landing target located. Attention. Multiple weapon signatures detected. Shield taking damage. Power down to 32%. Substantial damage to shield. Power down to 17%. Shield power down to 9%. Core energy depleted. Shield has been deactivated. Immediate evacuation. Proceed to the tenders.
Yeah, so that scene basically have callbacks or listeners for callback set up, or some of the shaders and lights are just listening for the beat clock and essentially modulating based on the current beat. We also showed at that after party, which was a lot of fun. We had a shooter challenge where we took people up on stage and they play this competitive music shooter, and that was connected to the DJ set. Also, every shot fired would send signals to the lighting desk that would also pulse in the light in the time to the beat, which was like a super cool experience. So here's a bit what that looked like. So essentially in that game, everything was also locked to the beat clock. You'd have things pulsing to the beat in the world, and the guns were locked to different musical subdivisions. So the better the gun, the quicker it fired, essentially, always in time to the beat. And that was also, there is actually on this platform, let's see, where is my mouse? So we have a learn section. And here you can both find the musical puzzler as the whole project that you can download, but also this beat shooter, a very simplified version of that with all the scripts you can find there as well. And please steal as much as you can from it and make cool music games, essentially. And with that, I think I shall open up to questions, if there are any. Yes, please. Yeah, so what is the type of music file you can start with? So if you want to have this super interactive music system, then you need to use a DAW like Reaper. We're soon going to support Ableton as well and others. And you drag and drop the whole project into this tool that converts it. If you just want to use these tracks from the platform, then those are OGG internally, but they're encrypted. But if you want to upload your own tracks that are audio files, that is WAV or OGG you can upload at the moment, and those will also be analyzed and then can be used inside your games in the same way any of these other tracks can be used. Sorry. Yes. Yeah, so a WAV file works, but then it's like a static linear playback. But you can still have interactive musical stingers playing on top, for instance. But if you want the full interactive system, then you need to use Reaper or Ableton or some other DAW to convert. Yeah. The 3D. Yeah, the output of the system. Yeah, so we generate a PCM buffer, and that buffer is by default. We put it into Unity on the audio filter read function, but you can just as well push it into Fmod or Wise using the programmer sound in Fmod or the audio inputs module in Wise. And for advanced users, you can actually get the buffer for each individual sampler instruments, and then you can spatialize that around in the space as well if you want to. More questions, please. It was super clear, apparently. Yeah, cool. Then I'm going to show you this as well. Yes, I forgot about that. So another type of thing that we enable is that game developers can actually sell music to gamers directly. So if you have, say, a music game, you can sell a music pack using music from our licensing catalog, and then you will get a cut as well as us and the record labels that we split between us. And then it's no upfront cost to the developer at all, and music suddenly becomes a revenue source if you want to do that. So it easily makes your game scalable if you want to have more music in your game, and you can offload that cost to the actual end user if you want to. Yes. If you're a music composer, can you compose for the system and upload? Yes. So we're opening up a marketplace also for composers where they can sell their interactive music directly. So they can have, finished interactive music compositions that a developer can then drop in their project from day one and have that super interactive experience. So I want to leave you with this final slide here. We have, as a launch discount on the asset store, 50% off the Indie and Essential package. So that is a pretty good deal. You should check it out. We can look at the pricing tiers quickly as well. But what's special about the way we set our pricing is also that for the first two tiers, half of what you pay for the license can also be used as music credits. If you pay for the higher tiers, all of the music that you pay for license of the software can also be used to purchase tracks. So essentially, if you plan to license music to your game, then the tech is free. You just pay for the license of the tracks. There is a 30-day free trial if you just want to test everything out before committing to a plan. So please check us out on the asset store. We've just launched there as a verified solution. And unless there are any more questions, I'm fairly done with the presentation. I have a few more minutes if you want to see something else, but other than that, I'm very happy to be here and that so many came to listen.